Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, Tiff here. Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. Lovely to have you back again. What we're going to be talking about today is how to focus. I get questions about that quite frequently, and I've been teaching a guy lately, John. Hi, John, if you ever listen. And what we've been working on, we've been working on his tennis game. And what we're specifically working on at the moment is we're working on improving his net play to make him more confident around the net, with his volleys especially. But not only confident at the net with his volleys, we want to take advantage of playing up close to the net. He's got a really strong game from the back of the court and he serves well. He's strong with his serves. He can place them really well. His baseline game is good. He's solid there as well. But when he comes to the net, he becomes very vulnerable. And when he's advancing to the net, he becomes very vulnerable. And hence, this is why we're working on strengthening this particular area. So this is good because what we're doing here is we're identifying an area that is weak in his game. And this is good because if you're listening, it's good for you also because you can start thinking about what I'm saying here and identifying also areas in your game that are weak. And then what we want to be doing there is finding the answers and strategies that need to be identified and developed to be improved in your game. So this is a good thing. So you can't just rely only on what you're good at. Because if you compete against someone who is a good level player, they're your level or better, they will highlight your weaker areas, especially if they're a stronger player, and they do take advantage of them. So what happens when they do that? This makes you quite vulnerable. But I really believe that this is a good thing and seeing the vulnerability in your game because it shows you that there's some more work to be done. And it shows you how you can be better. So I think this is a really good thing. And I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, and we were talking about her sport, and she's at the same point. She's highly competitive. She's always in the top 3 when she's competing. But after her last performance on the weekend, she was really disappointed. She came in second. And she did acknowledge, though, which was really, really good. She did acknowledge that she's really proud of where she's at because she's been very consistent with her training. She shows up all the time. She's working on giving her best. So that was great that she can acknowledge that because sometimes when you look at the results of what you've had in a competition, you know, and it's not what you ideally want, you tend to look at the negative sides of, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. But she has acknowledged that she's very consistent and she's very diligent with what she's doing. So this is a really good thing. But she's also identified that there are some vulnerabilities coming up in her sport and how she's competing, and she's going to look at those weaker areas when she competes so that she can perform so much better. So this is not really what I want to talk to you about today, but I believe it's really important to acknowledge areas in your sport when you compete that are not working and to devise a plan in how to fix them. So let's get back to John. We'll get back to John, my tennis client. So he asked me last week when he came for a lesson. He said, the question was raised. He goes, how could I focus better when I play? Because what I'm finding is that I mentally drift off. And he said, I don't know where I go, but I mentally drift off, and all of a sudden I've lost a few games, and I don't know, one, how that's happened, and two, how to bring myself back and keep the focus. So the other thing is too, is like he's not aware at times that he's drifted off. He's just realised that, oh, hang on, why am I down a couple of games? And then he's sort of like, oh, okay, well, what do I need to do to bring myself back? How do I do this? I don't know. And then he's sort of scrambling all the time throughout the match. And it's that feeling like there's somebody there, like you're there in body, but you're not there in mind. So this is why I thought this would be a great episode to record, because he asked me the question, Tiff, how can I focus and not drift off mentally? And I think that's a really great question, because that was my problem too when I was competing, when I was playing tennis in my teenage years, early 20s, when I was pursuing my professional tennis career. That is the biggest thing that I had a problem with, and I didn't know how to bring myself back when I was competing. And I know that this goes on, in every sport, and I think it's really good things that we start looking at how we can focus, not focus better, but actually how we can focus, because you can yell at yourself and say, okay, come on, Tiff, come on, focus. But if you don't know how to focus, or you don't know how to concentrate, there's other things where they say, come on, concentrate, or your parents or your coach says, come on, focus, come on, concentrate. It's fine to yell it out, but knowing how to do that is where the challenge is, because that's why you're in the position you are. You don't know how to focus, and you don't know how to bring yourself back when you're mentally drifting off. So it's very easy to drift off mentally. It is more challenging to stay focused. But what I want you to do is I want you to treat this, what we're going to work on today, this is a skill, and it's a very important skill that you will learn and that you need to be constantly working on perfecting, just like you do in the technical aspects in your sport. So we want to make sure that you're still doing that, treating it like a skill. You have to give it time. You have to work on improving the areas in which you need to improve on in learning how to focus, and then doing the drills, so to speak, so that you can focus better, okay? And focus. And be aware of how to focus, and be aware of when you drift off, and be aware of how to bring yourself back, okay? Really, really important. So did you know that what you do mentally, that's going to help your technical skills as well? Like, it's not the other way around. As you know, I teach golf as well, and golf's really my main sport that I teach these days, but I still keep my hand in the tennis side of things, and I love tennis. It's my first love, and I love sport in general. I love to see athletes perform well. I love to see juniors perform well. I love to help juniors perform well, and I love to help you get the knowledge and also get the experience under your belt, so that you know how to accomplish what you're striving to accomplish for and towards. So with golf or with any other sport, it's always going to be your mental approach that's going to give you the results that you want. And I want you to really get that stuck in your mind. It's the mental approach that's going to give you the results. Yes, it's doing the drills and working on, and training and practicing your specific sport, and doing the gameplay and simulations and all of that, all right? All of that's really important, but it's always going to be what's going on in your head that's going to help the improvement happen in practice, the improvement happen in training, the improvement happen in performance when you're actually competing. It's going to be the mental side that's going to be the thing that's going to get you through. You don't want to go into automatic mode and think that it's all just going to happen. Doesn't work that way. We need to make sure that we have ways in which we can switch ourselves on. So if you say that you can't improve, and I want you to think of this mentally, if you say, oh, Tiff, I can't write, because that's what you believe. If you believe that you can't improve, or you believe that you can't learn something new, or you can't learn how to focus, then you're right. Because mentally, you're saying that's your belief, and you're going to be right, because you won't. You'll look for reasons why you can't. If you say to me, Tiff, yes, I can improve, I can learn something new, again, you're right, because that's what you believe. You believe that you can do that. And I want you to always remember this saying. This saying I've heard it on and off throughout the years, but this is really quite impactful for me last year when I went through my journey of turning 50 and so on, and looked at the past and the future and where I was at. And I really knuckled down and did a lot of mental work in working through some mental challenges I had about turning 50. When you get here, you'll understand. If you're nowhere near 50, you'll go, oh yeah, sure. But when you get there, you'll relate to it. If you're older than 50, you can definitely relate to it. But I want you to always remember this saying: the world is a mirror of what you see. So I want you to think about it. If you believe that you can't, then what will happen is that you'll look for answers that show you that you can't do something. Okay, remember, so whatever's going on in your mind, that's your world, and the world is a mirror of what you see. So if you believe that you can't do something, you can't accomplish something, then that's correct, because in your world, you're going to be looking for the answers that are going to prove to you and say, see, told you, can't do it, right? And if you believe that you can, so remember, the world is a mirror of what you see. If you believe that you can, then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking for the answers that show you that you can do it. Okay? Everything is all about what your world is. Your world is your mind. So whatever you see, whatever thought you have, you're projecting it out into the world, and it's going to come back to you. So I want you to be really consciously aware of that. That is so, so important. But what we're going to do now, I can do a whole episode, or many episodes, on the world is a mirror of what you see and why we can be working on improving your world. But today, the focus is we're going to work on how to focus. Now, you may have heard me talk about also, I've written a book all about focus, how to reach your potential in sport, business and life. Just go to my website, tiffany-mika.com, and get a copy of that. If you'd love me to sign it, I'd love to do that for you. But I've written a whole book about how to do that and how to reach your potential. But what we're here to do right now is we're here to learn how to focus. So the first step, and this is what I believe, I found this incredibly impactful, and I tested this out on myself a number of years ago, and I went, yep, this is exactly what you need to do to focus, and this is why I'm going to share it with you today. The first step is a breathing technique. Now, it can be referred to as meditation, because there's different forms of meditation, but this is a specific breathing technique in what you can do. Now, you can do this particular breathing technique for as long as you like, but I would recommend, especially if you are really struggling to focus, I recommend that you do this for just 2 minutes a day and do it for 7 days straight, just for 2 minutes. Now, you will find too that you'll be looking and wondering when it's going to be over the 2 minutes. You'll find that 2 minutes of your time you'll feel that it'll go really slow, and you'll be wanting it to move quickly. I want you to be focusing on, and I'll tell you how to do the breathing technique in a moment, but I want you to be focused on staying in the present in that 2 minutes and focusing on this particular breathing technique, because this is all about how it's going to help you train to focus, because we live in a very fast world now. Everything's bang, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go. And where people are struggling is that they don't actually know how to stay in the moment so that they can perform better in their sport or just in everyday life as well. It's about being present, and I'm going to teach you how to do that, but you have to do the drills. Okay, these exercises are set up specifically for you to help you how to focus. Okay, this is how to focus 101. All right. Now, I'm going to do something for you that will follow this episode too. I will do the breathing technique with you, and that's all I'll record, just the breathing technique for a 2-minute period. And what I would suggest after you've done the 2 minutes breathing meditation for 2 minutes for 7 days, I will then suggest to build it up to then 5 minutes, and then you do that for the remainder of the month. So we're going to look at it for 30 days. The first 7 days is just going to be purely for 2 minutes. The next 23 days is going to be for 30 days. I recommend that you just keep doing this beyond that 30 days. This is just to start a habit, okay? Just to start learning how to do this. It's a skill that you want to learn. It's a skill that you want to refine, okay? So I'm going to record a 2-minute version of the breathing technique for you, and I will also record a 5-minute version of the breathing technique for you, so that will help you focus and concentrate. These will be following this episode, so that will help you. Now, before I show you and share with you how to do this, again, I've put this in my book, but you'll find when you're doing, even for a 2-minute period, you'll find that you'll mentally drift off. And you will. You'll start drifting off. But the great thing about what we're going to do with it is that you'll be aware, and then you'll be able to bring yourself back. And that is the secret sauce, okay? Being aware that you've actually lost the focus and knowing how back. Okay, so it's very, very simple breathing technique. What we're going to do here is we're going to breathe in for 5. So we breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We breathe out for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we do that for the 2-minute period. So the best way to do that is set your alarm on your phone, set it for 2 minutes, and then just go into that breathing technique. But the secret to it is you actually counting as you're doing it, and counting in your mind. So as you're breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want you to breathe with that, but I want you to be counting in your mind. You don't have to count out loud, but count in your mind as you do it. And if you stop counting, that will tell you that you've drifted off somewhere else mentally. And you go, oh, hang on, I've got to be counting. And then you go back and you start again, okay? That's step 1. Step 1. So remember, I will be recording a 2-minute version of this for you, and also a 5-minute version for you to help you get started, and you can listen to it as often as you like. That's going to be the thing that's going to help you stay focused. Perfect. I look forward to... Now, step 2. This is really important. So step 1 is, I believe, is the most important thing, and I do recommend that you do it in the morning before you start your day. Before you go out and take on the world, spend just 2 minutes, whether it's in bed or it's just after you've gotten up, go and sit down for a couple of minutes and do it. Best to do it in the morning because you'll get it done. I don't recommend to do it later in the day because you seem to run out of time and you never get to it. So make sure you do that. So step 2, when you train, so I'm not talking about practice yet. I'm just talking about training when you're, doing your running, you're doing your gym work, you're doing your sprinting, whatever type of fitness work that you're doing to help you get better in your sport. When you are training, I want you to notice when you're in that training mode, like in that zone. So being totally aware. And what I mean by that is that you want to be working on being present in that moment when you're doing that, because it teaches you again how to focus. See, what happens a lot of the time is we listen to a lot of music. I'm the same. I listen to music and podcasts and all sorts of things, and we tend to just roll through the motions. Now, you can listen to something and you can also focus at the same time. I would recommend in the beginning, though, don't listen to anything. See if you can actually tune in and stay in the moment when you're training. Try it. And what you want to be focusing on there is that staying in the moment. And what I mean by that is like having that awareness of what you're doing in that moment, like what you're training, whether it's you're doing a push-up, a press-up, a squat, a run. I want you to be aware of what you're actually feeling, where your mind is when you're actually doing that training. I want you to feel what the muscles are doing. I want you to feel what they need to be doing. And like I said, train without music or listening to anything at the moment, because it's just going to help you again create the awareness. Now, if you notice that you start thinking about something that happened last week, or something that's going to happen in the future, or something that happened 20 years ago or 10 years ago, that's telling you that you're starting to drift, and then you want to go, oh, hang on, I've got to come back again. All right? So step 2, in meditation or breathing, in training and in practice, that's going to help you switch into the game mode that you're looking for. Most people don't know how to do it. Most people don't do it. That's where the struggle is. So what we want to do here is we have to learn how to do it. And again, it's a learned skill, right? So when you practice, I want you to start tuning in what you're doing technically. I want you to feel what you're doing technically. I want you to connect with what the muscles are doing. I want you to connect with how you're making the technique work. I want you to tune in and really be aware of how to make it work in your game, right? In your race, in your fight, whatever it is, whatever your sport is. But the other thing that I want you to be aware of when you're in practice, be aware when you drift off mentally. And then you're like, oh, hang on, here I go again. And then you got to work on bringing yourself back. Now, that's what that breathing technique does. Just by counting helps bring you back. Maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe you have to go, oh, hang on, let's just breathe for 10 seconds or for 20 seconds. Bring myself back. Calm down. Let's start again. So what I recommend that you do, I want you to give yourself 30. I can guarantee that you'll become so much better at it. I can guarantee you'll be more aware of when you tune out. Then you'll be able to work on a way in which to bring your focus back much easier than you have in the past. And remember that this is a learned skill. So it doesn't magically happen. You have to train yourself to do it. Okay, so when you go out to compete in a competition or a tournament or a race or a fight, it's not going to magically happen and you get into game mode. It doesn't work that way. You have to train yourself into game mode. You have to train yourself in how to focus. It's a learned skill, okay? And I want you to approach it that way. So here are the steps again. So the first one is the meditation, the breathing technique. So start with 2 minutes for the first 7 days. Just do 2 minutes each for the first 7 days. Then I want you to build up and go into 5 minutes for the next 23 days. And then it's just something that you're going to continue to do. I will have recordings of the 2 minute one and the 5 minute one. Train yourself on feeling every movement in your body with exercises that you do. Feel them and be aware of them, okay? Working again, staying in that moment. The third step, practice, do exactly the same. So when you show up to practice, feel each movement, feel the technique, listen to each word that the coach says, feel each type of the play that you do or whatever drill that you have to do. Be really focused and zoned in. You'll be amazed in the difference that what you'll gain out of that. So there's plenty of other things to do, but these are I believe these are the most important ones. These are the top 3 to begin with. So like I said, give yourself 30 days and then we'll see what happens. I look forward to hearing about how the focus has changed for you. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could share with friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, because we want to build the Reach Your Potential with Tiff community as big as we possibly can. And I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Before you go, do you want to build confidence, belief, strength, and courage in you to go after your big dreams in your life and in your sport? If you do, go to www.tiffany-mika.com and get a copy of my book, Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life. I look forward to seeing you there. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams.